Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Govardhan Reddy. I'm an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. We're back in 2001. This video is to share information to the parents and make them understand what's IIT, how you have to uh, select the schools if your kids really wanted to get into those IITs. Uh, I'll share some info. The parents and all the kids try to analyze what I'm saying. Um, Make a fruitful approach in choosing the schools for your kids. A brief, what would be my topics today is introduction about IIT, its myth, its validity in the schools, the pattern of IIT and the number of repeated questions in IIT. The third is the IIT saga award, the fancy term, especially in Telangana. Uh, the coaching in corporate schools or other schools which say we are imparting you the best IIT coaching, whatever it is. The success rate of the students who have taken this IIT coaching from their class 6, whatever. Few examples how you have to make your kids read and prepare for IIT. Which boards you have to prefer, state board, CBSE, or whatever. The running notes, how you have to make effective use of it, and the summary. Let me go by introduction about IIT. Nowadays, especially in Telangana, even in the rural suburban areas like my place Jagtial, there are schools who say we are giving you the best IIT education in our schools from class 6 to 10th. See, in corporate schools or schools which say we are giving you the best IIT education, once you go for admission, they lure you with a fancy study material plan, fancy terms like Olympiad, Mass Olympiad, Science Olympiad, NTSE, so many terms. You really get crazy about things and wish to join your kid right away into those schools which offer IIT education and those things. So that's about admission into those kind of schools. The second part is the pattern of IIT and repetition of questions. See, IIT, all the questions are very simple, provided you know the very basics and the application of those basics to the practical problems, whether it's maths or physics or chemistry. Most of the questions you think that they're repeated or the same concepts are asked, if not in successive years, the next year. But it's not like that. I don't think there is any question which gets repeated in every year. Not even a single question you find which gets repeated itself through the history of IIT exam. There's also one more study like the kids who have preferred for studying this IIT coaching from the class 6 to 10 never achieved the IIT rank in the final JEE mains or advanced. Very few. You find less than 1% really get into those IITs, those who have taken coaching from class 6 to 10. You know the reason, because in these corporate schools or schools which boast of IIT coaching, they teach you ready-made formulas. They teach you less of concepts, um, less of concepts, more of formulas. And in the question papers, they give you and send the results in the SMS form, like you are getting 78%, 90%, 95%. It's only a simple logic. They teach you formulas, everything, and they ask you questions by just twisting the formula. Like if a formula is of four variables, they give you three variables and ask you to find a fourth variable. And most of the parents think my kid is getting 95 marks out of 100 in IIT question papers, which really is kind of fooling parents. And once you go to intermediate where colleges offer you IIT or NEET coaching, whatever it is, you find very backward because you learn concepts, and from 6th to 10th, you learn minimum of concepts, not of very great depth. Even if some schools are offering those to great depth, there are only formulas where the question paper is asked, and it's application of the formula. But in IIT, you don't get any straight away formula where you can solve three variables are given, find out the fourth variable. You will never get these kind of questions in IIT. All you get is the concepts, how you apply those concepts in solving, because every question is different. Every question you read in the IIT paper is different. You might have never did that kind of problem in your life earlier before attempting the final IIT. Okay, let me brief you with an example how a normal student tries to solve an IIT problem. It's like this: when you ask your father, when somebody real estate guy asks your father to buy a house in Hyderabad, you straight away don't give money just by saying the house is located in Hyderabad. What your father or parents does is they actually visit the place in Hyderabad. They see the location, they see who are the surrounding people staying in that locality, whether you know them or you don't know, whatever. By seeing all those criteria, they actually opt for buying the house. The same is the thing in the IIT question paper. Whenever a question is asked, you shouldn't straight away uh, try to solve the problem. You have to understand what's the concept asked for, how you have to apply those concepts in solving the problem and finding the answer. Let me give you an example. Suppose there is a wall in front of you which is double the height of you, and there's a ladder given to you which is of equal height to you. And when you place the ladder onto the wall and ask, when somebody asks to climb the wall, what would you normally do is you straight away used to climb the ladder, and since the wall is double the height of you, you try to reach with your hands and you try to lift yourself, try to put pressure, try to put energy, and then try to climb the wall. Maybe you may succeed in going to the top of the wall, or you may not succeed. So this is not how you have to study in cracking the solution to the question asked. What you have to do is you need to know. Suppose you climbing the ladder is very easy. Once you climb the ladder onto the top, you should know how much energy is required to lift yourself. Because if you need to climb the wall, you need to lift your weight, then cross the wall. You need to understand how much energy is required, how much force you need to put in climbing the wall. So these how much energy is required to lift something, how much force you require. These are all the basic concepts which you study in class 6 to 10. These concepts, when they are put into practical terminology or practical questions, then you will be able to do that. So it's the same thing. Once you know how much energy is required, if you don't have that energy, you cannot climb the wall. That's understood. So these are the concepts. Before trying to climb the wall, you should know these things perfectly. So even in IIT or your normal exam, what you do is whenever there's a question asked, you straight away try to write the answer, scribble a lot, and then end up with a wrong solution. What's the final thing? You have wasted your time in solving the problem, hence you lose the time in solving or in attempting all the questions. So this is the approach you have to practice. So I'll tell you how you have to do it from your class 6 or 7 till you achieve you pass out of your 10th class. First thing is, normally your teacher teaches you a lesson and you start making running notes. And then when the lesson is completed, you go to the exercise part. You try to solve a few problems. You don't get it. You ask the teacher for the help and end up. Then again, you go to the second lesson, make the running notes, try to solve the problems. You may get some problem, but most of the problems you cannot solve by yourself. Then you ask your teacher, do. You go on doing till you finish your class 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10. What's the end of the story is you really are not able to solve all the problems asked in your state board textbooks. So I'll tell you what approach you have to follow. Before starting a new lesson, whether it's your state board, CBSE, ICSE, whatever it is, You just try to brush through the lesson, go through the exercise part. What are the questions asked? Maybe you may not know the concept, but try to at least have an idea what kind of questions are asked in the exercise part. Then, when your teacher starts explaining the lesson, you try to correlate what the teacher is saying and how it can be used in solving the problems. That is how you have to make the notes. Okay, one lesson is done. You are able to make something out. When the second lesson is started, you have to still improvise from lesson one. What were the learnings in your lesson one in making the notes and its application to the questionnaire in the exercise part. In the second lesson, you have to improve your brain. You have to improve your understanding of concepts, make the notes of it, how that notes is very much applied in solving the questions. Maybe you may be able to do a bit better than the first lesson in the second thing. Go to the third lesson, improve it. Go to the fourth lesson. By the end of the fourth lesson, you should be able to thoroughly do all the problems without the teacher's help. Once you are done with the state board, go to the CBSE textbooks, refer the same lesson, try to solve the problems. If you are not able to solve the problems, reread the content of the CBSE textbook, try to solve the problems, make notes of it, how you can really improvise in taking notes of what the teacher says, try to solve the problems. Go with first lesson. If not, if you are not able to solve, go with the second lesson, try to improvise your brain, your thinking skills, your application part, just by understanding the same concept. You don't need to go for any IIT books or hi-fi material to get those ready-made formulas. It's very simple. In your class 6 to 10, not much of your huge analytical skills are tested. The very basic concepts and its analytical and problem solving skills, you have to develop it yourself. It's you who know how to measure your brain, how to measure your thinking capacity, whether you are able to improve your analytical skills in solving the problems. Go with third lesson, fourth lesson. By the fifth lesson, you should be able to solve even the CBSE lesson exercise part. Once you are done with that, then go with exemplar problems of the CBSE textbook. Solve problem by problem. Exemplar problems are 100% your application part of the concepts you learn in those lessons. Solve it first lesson, second lesson, third lesson. If you are very good enough in solving all those exemplar problems without teachers' help or internet, I think this is pretty much enough. You can really crack into IIT. Yeah, these basic things. Why I'm explaining is because I am also a part of IIT Kharagpur. I know how difficult it is to get into IITs. Only thing is, you should be very smart enough. You should be very smart enough in capturing the notes of your teacher. How that can be applied to the questions in your exercise part. If you are able to do this up to 10th class, I don't think there is anybody who can stop you in getting into those top elite IITs. So why I am saying all this is, don't get fooled by those fancy terms where your corporate schools or other schools which are luring you of IIT. Don't spend time, effort, money in learning all those things which are not at all useful to you. They only bundle you with so much of content into your brain, whereas they don't have any practical approach in solving the problems, because every question is different in IIT, in the same paper and in every year. Now let's say what we are doing in our school. I think many of you know we don't have any study material from class 6 to 9. Why we have done very strictly this thing is, you have to read the textbook, you have to understand the concepts, you have to try to solve the problems in the exercise by yourself. If you have study material, you have everything ready made there. You will not get a chance to improve your analytical skills or whatever thinking skills in solving the exercise part of it. We haven't in any year introduced study material. The second thing is, whatever questions we are asking you in the exam papers, like 50% are straightaway questions, and 50% are twisted kind of questions. You might have seen in previous years, we have conducted very short question papers where you don't find anything straightforward in the textbook. You only have to have the skills in solving those paper by understanding the concepts whatever our teacher says in the school. I hope all the parents have understood what I wish to say. I wish to explain about the concepts, those things. One more thing I would say, like in the corporate schools or schools which are offering IIT coaching, after every exam they give you the result. Most of the kids get 75, 80, 85 marks. Then in the final IIT exam, why those kids are not able to get 85, 90 marks in the IIT? Out of every corporate schools where you have extraordinary strength, not even 1%, or I can say 0.1% of the kids crack into IIT. It's because they only try to imbibe into you only the ready-made formulas, ready-made concepts. You will never be able to learn the physical or practical approach in solving those problems. I'm not saying we are not giving you IIT in our school. We are only giving you the basic concepts, and it's how you can apply those concepts in solving your problems. I think you need to only focus only in solving the problems. Maybe it's your state board or a CBSE textbook. This is more than enough. You don't need to burden your mind with huge number of pages of IIT content or those things. That will never help you get into IITs. I also advise parents not to stress your kids in learning these IIT concepts from these schools which say we are giving you the best IIT coaching. Only thing is you need to solve and be adequate enough in solving the problems of your state board or CBSE textbooks. This is more than enough. I don't think you need to waste your kids' life, energy, time, your money in those fancy terms with those schools. I hope all your parents understood. Um Please WhatsApp me. I think many of you know my WhatsApp number. I will also upload this video in YouTube and Facebook. Uh, Write as many comments as you can. I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.